Yo everyone, in today's video I'm going to be teaching you all about how to master the corner exits on F1 2025. Previously I did a video on how to master the corner entry and the braking zones especially, so this would be a nice following on from that video. In this video I'm going to be speaking about multiple topics and hopefully breaking down into quite digestible segments of the video for you to learn from and to hopefully grow your skill set, confidence, pace and consistency as well. So that being said, into the heart of the video. The first part I'm going to speak about is the telemetry on the screen. As you can see, it's a live input telemetry, so whenever I go on the throttle, whenever I go on the brake, you're going to see exactly what's happening as well, so you can start to see visually what I'm doing with my pedal inputs. The green is going to be indicating the throttle and the red is going to be indicating the brake. So with that being said, the first proper segment of the video is going to be about the apex clipping point. The apex clipping point is the point of the apex that you reach typically around the middle of the corner. It's just about the fastest racing line for you, your driving style and your car setup around this corner. For example, here in slow, there's a very long clipping point or a very wide operational window to maximize your performance of a clipping point through here, because the corner is quite long, so you have more options with the racing line. Whereas when you go to a shorter corner here, like a chicane in the final sector of Silverstone, the apex is quite short and you spend a very little amount of time in the corner, so you have less opportunity to be adjusting your racing line while still getting the peak performance out of it. In summary, for that first point, the longer that the corner goes on, the more opportunity you have to adjust your racing line for your own driving style, for your own car setup style, and just generally how you want to be driving the corner. The shorter that the corner is, typically the less options you have at your disposal, just because you spend less time in it and it's more critical to be on, let's say, a more normal racing line. Here in Brooklands and Luffield is great examples of that, especially in Luffield. There's like a trillion different ways you can approach the corner. Wide in, fast out, fast in, slightly slower out, maybe middle, and you just sort of go medium pace entry, medium pace exit. And to be honest, they can all lead to the same lap time potential, especially if your setup preference or driving style is leading towards one direction. So have that with confidence, but remember your apex clipping point is going to be the point that you generally, in 99.5% of the circumstances, want to get off the brake pedal and get back on the power. We're going to show you a few examples here in the final sector, also with the replay camera. Going into the corner, you can see on the brake pedal, as soon as we reach our clipping point, we get back on the power very smoothly, very carefully. Now going through the chicane, clipping point, get back on the power, clipping point, get back on the power, and you can see we're really working with that and how we can be maximizing the potential of the car as well. Going through the replay mode, and now you can see into the chicane right now, third person camera, lovely jubbly. Going into the corner, we reached our clipping point. You can see at the point that we reach our apex, of course the apex stones don't always indicate the exact clipping point of the corner, but like I say, pretty much you can draw a line through the middle of the corner. So you can see through here with the left hander, and you can pretty much draw a line through the middle of the right hander as well, and that'll be where the, let's say, 90% of the clipping points may reach. But like I say, in the longer corners like Stowe, Mags and Beckett, Luffield, on here on Silverstone, it can just be that you have so many racing lines available to you that you can make up your own clipping point. The reason I want to stress the importance of understanding your clipping point, because that clipping point is going to be when you come off the brake pedal and getting back on the power. So now we're going to move into the second segment of the video, what's going to be building up that power and the throttle usage appropriately. So going through the left-hander here, reach our clipping point, and once we have our clipping point reached, you can see we go off the brake pedal and start building up that power very smoothly and very gradually. Just going to run through that exercise a few more times around the rest of this lap. Into Brooklands, we're going to go a little bit wide, but we're going to reach our clipping point eventually. Through Luffield, reach our clipping point eventually, just going off the brake pedal and then building back up the power. So you could just identify a little bit of that clipping point by when you go off the brake pedal and build back up the power. So of course that was much low speed and medium speed corners, but now we're going to give it a go with high speed corners as well, through Mags and Beckett, flat through the left, flat through the right. This is going to be a lift. So now you're just going to see just building back up the power at the clipping points, and now we're able to use the car in a very efficient manner to be maximizing the potential of it. So as a rule of thumb, at the clipping point, try to make sure that you're off the brake pedal and you're getting back to the power. As you can see right there, I had a big snap of oversteer because I was a bit too aggressive, and you can see from the telemetry input a little bit there, I overrid my brake and throttle inputs, just being a bit too eager, trying to maximize the potential of the car. So try to avoid doing that, and if you do it, you may end up in the situation that the car wants to slide out on you like I did in that circumstance. So yes, make a big discipline and just try to really focus on getting off the brake pedal and building up the power very smoothly and very gradually, and try never to be on the brake and the throttle at the same time. There's some very, very rare circumstances, for example, a safety car restart, that you can be on the brake and the throttle at the same time, like this. That can help the tire temperature, can help recharging the battery, but I'll talk about that fully in a separate video when I do about the safety car restarts and maximizing them. Of course, today is all about the exit of the corner. So now we've covered off the clipping point, how to get off the brake pedal and getting back on the throttle, and now we're just going to speak a little bit about that throttle technique as well. So in a perfect world, what you really want to do is have a very smooth upward trajectory of the throttle pedal on the exit of the corner. You can see right now, just very smooth, going from 0% to 100 in a very careful and detailed way. Of course, that's easier said than done. When you're absolutely on the limit of power and you're really focused on maximizing the performance, it's really hard to have that very smooth throttle input, and it can sometimes become a little janky. Like, for example, going through here, you can see if we do have a bit of jankiness on the throttle, it really upsets the rear of the car and makes it much harder to be balancing and to be keeping the car in a good straight line. A way you can just really be thinking about this and how to be using the throttle is it's not about how early you can get on the power, because it's very easy to get early on the power. We can all do that. But think about it, how early you can get on the power and reach 100% of the throttle in a very smooth trajectory and a careful way. So now we're going to do that approach, going through the chicane into the left-hander, and you can see now we're just going to take it carefully. Instead of thinking about how early we can get on the power, we think about how early we can get to 100% power, because that's what's going to give us the drive. That's what's going to give us the absolute engine power to fire us off the corner onto the following straight. So just to reiterate that point, it's not about how early you can get on the power, it's about how early you can get to 100% power in 99.5% of the cases. The 0.5 of the example there may be in certain situations driving in the rain or very low grip conditions that the car can be slightly unsettled. Because now we've talked about like the perfect examples, right, where the grip is high, the car is stable, but to be honest, we're not always going to have those situations available to us. So let's say we're driving in sort of a very low grip condition. Let's head over to the rain. Here in the wet conditions, you can see it's going to be much harder to adapt to that grip level every single time, and we're not going to be able to go as easily from 0 to 100% power as you can see right now. Although we do have quite a smooth line going from 0 to 100%, we have to build it up much slower than before and really be fighting and working with the car to maximize its performance. So still the objective will be to go from 0 to 100% as smoothly as possible, because that's not going to upset the weight transfer and the balance of the car, but also going to keep in mind that if I do need to be adjusting my throttle inputs for the grip available to me in that exact moment of time, then I'm more than comfortable and more than able to do that. Going through the left-hander right now, you can see we're pushing semi-hard at the moment, of course leaving a bit of brain capacity to be speaking while driving, so I can do the video. But you can see I'm still doing these sort of smooth inputs and being as careful on the throttle as I can possibly be, going from that 0 to 100% rule of thumb, just making sure that I'm not overstressing the car. And even here you can see going from 0 to 100% super smoothly, but we just have to do it slower than we was able to do in the dry. And basically the lower grip you have, then of course it's going to take longer to go from 0 to 100% power. You really don't want to sort of jump around on the power like that. Although we got away in that example because the car was quite straight, was already quite balanced, then we had the battery turned off on the bottom right hand side of the screen, as you can see. Ultimately, if we try doing that in other corners, you can see just getting back on the power, it's just unsettling the car, and it's just not going to be good. Going through the chicane as well, going for the left-hander, and now you can just see just jumping around on the throttle. Of course, it's a very extreme example, but if you do start to get a blip of wheel spin early on in the power cycle, or getting back on the throttle, here you can see in the third-person camera, then it's just going to unsettle the car. If you do get that initial blip of wheel spin, you know what I mean? So as you can see right now, we've got that kick of wheel spin, we've covered it, and now we start wheel spinning the car from this point onwards. It's really hard to recover from wheel spin to get grip back, because then of course you're heating up the surface of the tire, and you really have to be patient to let the throttle go and then start building it back up from that point onwards. So it sounds like an obvious statement, I know, but if you do get wheel spin, it's going to be a disaster for your exit speed of the corner, and you're really better off in these circumstances to drive 5 or 10% under what you think you can be doing and build up the throttle slowly with a lot of confidence, rather than just slamming back on the power and getting that wheel spin, because you can see as soon as that wheel spin comes in, you're just really difficult to recover from it, and you really have to wait for the car to settle down before you start building up again. That's something that's really, really crucial. If you do end up in a situation like this, just take your time, build up from 0 to 100% really smoothly, make sure that you're not getting any wheel spin from the car, and if it is a situation that you need to drive 5 or 10% under the limit initially on the corner exit to avoid getting any wheel spin, then build up progressively from that point onwards, then trust me, do it. Utilize that driving technique, utilize the opportunity, because that's going to give you far greater rewards than pushing the throttle too early and getting wheel spin as a net result of that. So with that being said, hopefully this video was helpful, educational for you, and yeah, the point of these videos ultimately is to try and share some knowledge, and if it can help you gain more confidence, gain speed, consistency, ultimately enjoy the game a bit more as well, because like I say, I've been playing the game since 2010. I love this game series. It's given me so many gifts in life. With doing like F1 esports even, and even just to make this video right now, you know, I would be here if the game wasn't there, you know. So fundamentally, if I can share my passion, share my love, and hopefully if other people can love the game or enjoy the game a little bit more as a net result of stuff, then winning, you know, that's brilliant. And yeah, hopefully that's able to happen. If you do have any questions about the video, feel free to post it down below, and hopefully the telemetry has been quite helpful for you as well with understanding exactly what I do. Tell you what, we're going to wrap off the video and just show you how I'm also drifting. I think it'll be funny. Why not? Let's see what happens. So we're going to go into Brooklands and Luffield, and you're going to be able to see a live telemetry from me drifting the car, put the car in, and as you can see, just turn the battery back over to medium, and just take a big snaps at the throttle here, and you can see just letting the car run around the outside of the corner, lovely jubbly, and just blipping the throttle back on and off to keep the rears spinning, keep the rears in a situation that they're not able to pick up grip again. And yeah, that being said, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Grazie ragazzi, ciao ciao, bye bye.